Here on the show, we make a lot of craft projects using felted wool. But crafting is not the only thing this material is well suited for. This versatile material is thought to be one of the earliest man-made fabrics and has become very popular in the world of design. The Cooper-Hewit National Design Museum here in New York City is currently running a really great exhibit called Fashioning Felt, which features wonderful and creative examples of felt used in product design, in architecture, in fashion, and also in home furnishings. Take a look. At the corner of 91st Street and 5th Avenue on Manhattan's Museum Mile stands the Cooper-Hewit National Design Museum.
The museum was founded in 1897 by the Hewit sisters, who were the granddaughters of Peter Cooper. The Hewit sisters traveled extensively, collecting what they considered to be the best examples of design for their museum, which was housed at Cooper Union. But in the 1970s, they became part of the Smithsonian and moved here to the Andrew Carnegie Mansion.
The museum's latest exhibit is called Fashioning Felt.
Felt seems to be having a real renaissance in high-end design and architecture, as well as the craft of hand felting. It is very unlike other textiles. Felt making is one of the oldest ways of making fabrics, and it is at least 8,000 years old. Nomadic communities use it for everything from their dwellings to their furnishings to their clothes as an industrial material. It's self-extinguishing, it's got really good fluid transfer management, it's a great insulator against vibration and sound.
Devoting an entire exhibit to this unique material took 3 years of planning.
We're bringing in about 70 objects, both commercially produced felt as well as hand felting. The exhibition includes architecture, product design, fashion, furniture, as well as a fantasy yurt, which will be in the museum's conservatory.
A yurt is a portable felt dwelling used by the nomadic people of Central Asia. Felt artist Janice Arnold traveled to Mongolia to learn more about traditional felt making and find inspiration for the yurt she was designing for the exhibit.
I knew I wanted to have some surface texture. So when you walked in, you were encompassed by texture and the interaction between the light and this felt translucency.
With the design in place, it was time to start making felt. In the past, I've done dry felting, where needles are used to attach wool fibers to another fabric. For her yurt, Janice used wet felting, an intricate process that took 8 months to finish.
You take raw wool fiber from a sheep. I'll clean and card the wool. Carding is a form of combing the fibers.
These wool fibers were layered with materials like silk, linen, or gauze to create different patterns and textures.
These fibers are stacked. Then I add hot water and a tiny bit of soap and roll it up. Once it's rolled up, I have a rolling machine to create the agitation.
This agitation caused the fibers to mat and joined the materials together. It was repeated 10 to 12 times, during which the fabric shrunk to half its original size. To make the ceiling panels, Janice started by cutting a pattern out of a very thin felt.
I'll lay that felt onto a base fabric and start this moisture agitation process.
20 ceiling panels were made, totaling 500 square feet, and a frame was constructed in the conservatory to support the fabric.
We had to drape the frame with these pieces of fabric, not unlike making a bridal gown for an elephant.
Then it was time to literally raise the roof, a task that took many people and quite a few hours. The 15-foot-long side panels were then hung from the ceiling.
The finishing touch of the entire installation are the entrance arches, which pay homage to the yurt blessing. Let us bless your new white Mongol ger. And ger is the Mongolian term for yurt. Seeing this installation come together in the space that it was designed for is just exhilarating.
While Janice's installation was completely handmade, other artists work with industrial felt. The commercial felting process also starts with raw wool. Rotating combs card the wool fibers and align them into thin layers called bats. The bats are stacked, steamed, and compressed between oscillating plates before being sprayed with hot water and rolled. The felt is then ready for artists like Catherine Walter.
So this is a felt frieze that mimics that very ornate molding that's in the building. It's folded and a little stitch, it just holds it all together.
After months of hard work, it was time to open the exhibit and see the varied modern uses of this ancient material.
The slice is a huge amount of fiber, rolled and then sliced like a log.
Artist Claudia Youngstra created the installation Inner Moods by felting wool from her herd of 200 sheep in the Netherlands.
Their urchin poof is made by knitting a thick felted cable on these enormous knitting needles.
The cell LED carpet on display was originally created for the concept interior of Airbus A350.
The felt rocks are actually the byproduct of an industrial process. They'll throw extra chunks of felt into the machine to pound against one piece. But over time, they become denser and denser, and they resemble river rocks.
It's easy to see why felt has been such a popular material for ages, and who knows what other uses we will find in centuries to come. Joining me is artist Janice Arnold, who created that beautiful yurt that we saw in the piece. And I wanted to ask her a couple of questions. Why did you decide to create art using felt, or have you always done so?
No, actually, about 10 years ago, I discovered this, actually almost a magic quality that the raw wool fiber has. And the amazing amount of breeds of sheep there are. And I quickly experimented and learned that I could make this wide range of sumptuous textures and light felt, from sheer to thick half-inch rock-like material.
Yeah.
And there was just no stopping me at that point.
Well, and Susan Brown, the curator of the exhibit, is right here in the front row, too. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I hope you like the piece. It's fascinating, just fascinating, the whole background of the exhibit. I especially love this felt frieze. This is just part of the frieze that goes along the molding up near the ceiling, right?
It's kind of above the chair rail.
Above the chair rail. It's amazing, so gorgeous. Now, how long is the exhibit running so that we can go see it, all of us?
The exhibition's on view at Cooper-Hewit until Labor Day, September 7th.
Is it going anywhere else afterward?
We hope so.
I hope
In
so, too.
negotiation with a couple of museums on the West Coast.
I hope so, too. And maybe you should send a few sheep along.
I'd love to.
Well, it's very nice that you're here, and thank you so much for allowing us to do this piece on the felt exhibit. And for more information on the exhibit, please go to our website at marthastewart.com, and later I'll show you how to make an adorable craft for Easter that uses a little bit of felting. We'll be right back.